Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Information About Mortgages. I got a show for y'all tonight. I have the Honorable Felicia Guidry. And some of y'all saying the Honorable, what is she honorable about? Well, let's bring her on to introduce us. Please welcome Felicia Guidry to the show.
Well, hello. Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
This is the Tiffany Haddish, y'all, of real estate, okay? She got some jokes for you, so bear with us. We're going to hang in here. But Felicia, please introduce yourself to my audience.
Sure. Hi, great. I am Felicia Guidry, President of HBREA, and that's the Houston Black Real Estate Association. We're the local board of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
All right. So how long is this institution? Tell me, what is HBREA?
Oh, wow. I am excited to share that with you, right?
Can I not tell?
Yeah, so our organization, NAREB, was established in 1947, but Houston was established in 1949. Hey, we will be celebrating 75 years of fighting for democracy and housing for our community.
Okay, what does that mean? Fighting for democracy and housing. What does that mean and look like?
Awesome. What does that look like? Well, I'll tell you. Many are not aware, but some people don't know that they can own a home, right? They think it's far-fetched from them. And I'll say people that look like me, right? The reality is our community, one, because they are not exposed or they're living on past issues from others, right? There used to be issues with redlining. There used to be issues with real estate professionals as ourselves could not have the designation as realtor. So our realtors members got together, 11 of them, and started this organization because, one, they wanted to give us as Black people the ability to understand real estate, be able to teach our communities about real estate, and make sure that they have fair access to housing.
And you know, that's what this podcast is all about. We're talking about my buyers and listeners about owning a home.
Oh, yes.
The pathway to home ownership should be simplified.
Yes.
So let's talk about that, because right now, first, we have an affordability problem.
Mm-hmm.
How does NAREB suggest we fight that? How do we do that?
Sure. Okay. So, from a national level, we advocate for fair housing laws for everybody, right? So these are federal guidelines because we have over 115 local chapters, and I got to give a shout out to my national president, Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose.
Dr. Courtney Rose.
Yes. So they fight from a national level, but here in a local level, here in Houston where we serve, right, we advocate, one, for access to housing, right, and we operate under our national arm, but then we do it in a local market, right?
Okay, so speak in layman's terms, because when you said you advocate for, there's houses out there. What do you mean advocate? If I qualify for a house, I just go buy it.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. You are so right, but you better go with somebody that's advocating for you, even if you're the seller. Let's talk about one of the issues from the seller standpoint, then we'll talk from the buyer standpoint.
Okay.
One, from the seller standpoint, we had the issue with appraisals, right?
Okay.
So they would call it whitewashing because typically a Black seller looking to put their house on the market, they get an appraisal, right?
Okay.
The appraisal comes out, we're going to use wild numbers, 300,000, right? And then somebody else is saying, no, this house, or their realtor said, no, this house should be appraised at much more, 450, right? So it was like, okay, so what do? We have this appraisal for 300,000. So they did literally a sting all over, and what they found is when they removed any items in their homes that actually looked like a Black person owned them. You need to take down all of your pictures, right? So you can't have your family pictures. You can't have ethnic things in your home. So then they had another appraiser, totally different appraiser come out, and guess what? The house appraises for more.
Okay.
How
okay.
is it same house, different person, but the presentation was different? So what did that look like? It looked like discrimination. So do we feel that there is discrimination in appraisal numbers? Yes. What does that do for us? It robs us of our equity if you're the seller. Because would you want to sell your home for $300,000 or $450,000?
Exactly.
So that's what we fight for having clarity in those areas, making sure that whoever that is appraising, that they are doing it fair based on the property, not based on the person that owns it. And how can you do that? By having more people that look like us in that industry. So of course we're advocating for more diversity in the appraisal industry.
Okay, so you also said that you will show us about from the buyer's perspective.
Okay, excellent. So let's talk about the buyer. Well, again, depending on where that buyer is trying to live, right?
Okay.
Is that a neighborhood that is not conducive for everybody to live? Is that somebody, that real estate professional, or the neighborhood in itself steering people like us away from those properties? So we got to have people that are on the forefront paying attention to that. But the other barrier is if that house is the $300,000 or the $450,000. Us in our communities, one of the major barriers is that down payment, right? Because it may be something that they don't have access to. Why they don't have access to it? Because one, their income level may not support them being able to save to get the down payment. But thank goodness, it's so many programs out there and professionals like yourself that make those programs knowledgeable to the consumer. So a lot of times they don't know about programs. So here in Houston, we advocate for exposing our communities to the different community programs that's available.
Okay, so how do you do that? Do you offer workshops? Do you have webinars? Do you have in-person classes? How do the regular everyday person find out about these programs that you're suggesting?
Oh, I am so glad that you asked. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here with you because I know you are educating your audience. And of course, you got to have some people that's right behind you fighting with you, right? So what we do, because education is very important, right? And many of our people miss education. Scripture says we're destroyed for lack of knowledge, right? So a lot of time it's not that the information is readily available, because it is, but one, we don't have access or we don't know how to do it, right? So our organization once a month provide a free 8-hour program that is eligible for the down payment assistance programs that many of the community partners offer, right? It's virtual, so you can be anywhere and take this class. So you don't have to be local. You don't have to show up in the classroom and sit there for 8 hours. It's a virtual class. We break it up in 2 sessions. So on the Thursday of the third Thursday of the month, we have the intro, give them all the information that they need to attend for the following Saturday. So every third Saturday of the month, we have this home buying class, right? But on the Thursday of that week, you have to do the orientation. If you're a couple, you and the spouse need to come with you, right?
So there's an orientation
on Thursday
that provide you information regarding an 8-hour class that you can take in order to learn about local assistance programs.
That is correct, but then the full steps to home buying, right? So it's the budgeting, it's the savings, because when you apply for these programs, they want you to have your budget. They want to make sure that your finances are in order. So that's an education class for those 8 hours.
Okay, so before we dive into the next session, tell people how they can find this course so that they can equip themselves with the knowledge they need and the programs that may or may not be available.
Excellent. Go to HBREA events.org. HBREA-events.org. You'll find all of our events on that page. Go to the free HUD certificate home buying class, and you can access it there. Again, it happens every third Saturday of the month. The orientation is the Thursday prior to that Saturday.
Okay, so one of the things you discussed is what happens in these classes. So you said that they go over budget, you go over credit, you go over savings.
Yes, and on top of that, we have the individual professionals that's a part of that. So they have an opportunity, a real estate professional talks to them about the steps, why they should work with the realtor, what that realtor role is. So it doesn't matter if you are a realtor. Yes, you still can send your clients to this program because we're educating them on the home buying process. And all real estate agents don't have access to be able to do that for all of their clients. So this class is free for everyone. Anybody can refer their clients there. We teach them that process to home ownership from a real estate perspective, why you work with the real estate professional, right? So that make it easier for us if somebody telling them, right, when we ask them to sign the papers. And then we talk about the other steps. Why do you do an inspection? So we have an inspector that comes in, talk to them about the inspection process, why they need an inspection. Do I need it on a new home because it's a new build? Yes, you do, right? It's all a choice, but they're there to provide education on each one of those levels. We have an insurance representative that comes in. He talks about why you have to have insurance, and just the cheapest is not always the right one. You need to one that is going to protect your asset, which is this home, right? Okay. And then we also have a financial planner that is also already there, because after now you've acquired this home, right? What do you do to be able to protect that for your legacy, to be able to pass down to the next generation? So we do equip them for the steps to home ownership, and then on top of that, maintaining that and keeping that home after they close.
That's a lot of information.
Well, it's 8 hours and they need it. You can't just think, if most of our home buyers, we're going to Birmingham next week, and we'll be delivering our State of Housing in Black America. It's coming up. But the reality is most people don't know how to protect what is theirs, right? How do they pass down the generational wealth? So it's so vitally important that we provide that information here locally as well as nationally.
Well, we were going to talk about that. You said generational wealth. So I know October 7th, there was a big event in Houston.
Yes.
Tell me about that event. I wasn't able to make it.
Oh, no. Okay, listen. Our national president, Dr. Courtney Johnson Rose, came up with expanding our community housing events. It's called Community Wealth Building Day. And we are doing a 60 tour throughout all of our NAREB chapters. So it's going to be in a city near you. So I don't know where you're watching from, but just know you'll be able to get this no matter what city. Just go to the website, right? And that is NAREB. I'm going to provide that. Email address is NAREB. Oh my God. I cannot believe I've been saying it. Girl, yes, listen, I love it. But let me tell you, it is, they did change it. I want to make sure that they get the right website. So it is NAREB blackwealthtour.com. I don't want y'all to miss that. It is NAREB
blackwealthtour.com.
Yes, so NAREB
okay.
blackwealthtour.com. You can get all of the information in regards to the tour, what next city it is taking place in. And so it is a large event. We kicked it off here in Houston on October the 7th. We had over 1,000 prospects that came through. When I say prospects, these are people that are looking to buy a home. They they're looking for the education. We had sellers that were looking for information in regards to how do they sell in this market. Okay. We also had workshops in regards to those property taxes, right? Because so many people own homes, but they're losing them because of the property tax. And you know, there's a bill on the ballot. We need to vote for that because it increases the exemption that you get for your homestead, right? If you're renting, you don't get that exemption. You don't get no breaks, right? But we talked about that. We talked about investing. Black men buy houses, right?
That's in Birmingham. That's in Birmingham, Alabama. And I know a lot of black men. I am a big Roll Tide fan. And I've been telling them to come on out. So tell my audience, please, about Birmingham, Alabama event.
Oh my goodness. So we will be headed there. We're going to have the Community Wealth Building Day on that Saturday. But we will be introducing our HBREA report. We've been doing HBREA report. That stands for State of Housing in Black America, right? Okay. And it breaks down what's actually happening within our communities. And then not only it breaks down what's happening, because again, you got to let people know know. You got to reveal what's happening because some people just may not know.
Exactly.
So now you've given them the information, then we provide solutions. How do we handle it? What do we need to do because of it? So doing this Black Wealth Tour in all of these different cities, we will be providing those solutions. And that major thing is education, those community wealth building days, because it's not just your typical house and fair event. You come in, pick up brochures. We did one-on-ones, meaning we had attorneys. So we got a shout out to the National Bar Association because they're one of our MOU partners, as well as the Delta signed on. So many of the Divine Nine are a part and have signed on MOUs with us to be able to help us to promote this in our communities. So it's important, that education piece, and it's happening, and it's sitting near you.
How does this help with affordability? Because a lot of markets, I talked about this on my last podcast, a lot of markets have it where the average median home price is $400,000. And as you stated in the beginning, our incomes don't allow for us to buy that price home. So what is your mission for, what is NAREB? Sorry,
yes,
I didn't you out. Mission for home affordability. How are you all helping with that?
Oh my goodness. Well, again, another brainchild. We are having or creating what's called a Developers Academy. And why are we doing the Developers Academy? Because one, the inventory. We all talking about inventory shortage, right? But I think it's not only just inventory shortage. I think it is lack of education, because many people think that they still need 20% to put down on a home, right? But they know it. They may be thinking, oh, interest rates are too high. There you go. So with that 3.5%. So now that's one of the major barriers, that down payment. So if you have programs that's able to help with that, now where is the inventory? So the Developer Academy is helping Black professionals become developers, create this land that's out there, because God ain't making no more land, right? So we see all of these vacant lots. So educating an individual or developers to how to build an affordable product within our communities that look like it's not affordable. And we talk about affordable, y'all, it's not necessarily the dollar amount, because affordability here in Houston, $350,000 house, right? So it's not just the price of the home, but I think access to it as well.
Well, that kind of segues us to the next point. We have areas where it was predominantly Black for a really long time. And they are no longer predominantly Black. So a lot of us are moving out to far suburbs where we don't have access to transportation, and there's grocery store droughts in certain areas. So how do you do that? Because gentrification is real, and it could be positive or negative, but it's more seen negatively than it is positive. So when you have a price point of $350, you have all of these developers and things doing quote unquote affordable, but it's still not affordable, or it's affordable but the area has a food drought, like Sunnyside, South Park over there. They moved it from Scott, HEB, and there's no food places over there.
Food deserts.
How do you offset that? What is it for the average buyer? Because if I can go to Willis and buy a $240,000 house, which is in my price point, you are now taking my community away from me, and you
and your wealth. Don't forget that. You're losing that wealth, because in our minds, as we've got to think long term, because a lot of times we're thinking right now. Right. So sometimes if you think that you can't afford a $300,000 home, I'll tell you can. Because if you're paying $1,500, $2,000 in rent, you can afford to buy, right? So you're most of the times they're looking at that upfront number. But if the biggest barrier is getting in the home with the down payment, right? Because I don't think it's that the people can't own that home at $350,000. If we need to revisit what we're doing with our income that we're getting, so that's why budgeting is so important. I like to always say that every dollar that you have needs to have an assignment. So that means it needs to be put in a place for saving. savings. It needs to be put in a place for, if it's for my future home, right? Because they go and pay $600-700 for a car note for 5 or 6 years, right? So if you can do that, then not get that Land Rover, right? And you got a landlord, you're in violation, right? So let's not get that extravagant vehicle now. Get that home now. You can take that one home and it creates wealth and equity for yourself. You can pull equity out. You now can, if you need to purchase a new car, if you need to send your children to college, you have it. Don't be duped to think that going to the lands, the woodlands, the pearlands, and all of that is going to help you, because the wealth is in the city, if it were, in the Sunnyside areas. Look how close that is to downtown. The largest medical center, the best medical center in the world is in Houston. Why would you move way to, I love Willis, we sell out there too, but the reality is be where the wealth is and stay in your communities. So our developers are going through in our communities helping. One, we have lenders that have the rehab programs, because many times people say, well, this was mom's house, I don't want to stay there. But if you had someone that could help you rehab that home, right, and then now you lease that home out, you now have became a landlord, you've created wealth and generation for yourself. And now if you want to go to the lands and let somebody else pay your mortgage in the land. Okay. Because when you go out and you sell your home here for pennies on a dollar, they know the wealth is here. Okay. That's why they're building up. And you say gentrification. If we get together and buy back the block, right? There you go. That's Mr. Chris Senegal and Andre. I got to shout out to those young men, black men buying houses, but they're also developing homes within our communities. I have to give a shout out to our mayor, Turner, because the homes initiative that they have, putting these homes in our communities and then working with the developers and the builders to make them affordable. Okay. And we got a lot of us that are building. Hey, you may not be able to build a 10-tract land, but 1 or 2 houses that can create wealth for our communities is where you can start.
And so you're trying to lead people, like Jesus said, he didn't give them fish, he made them fishers of men.
There you go. And it requires one, I would say that we look, who do you consider credible in your environment or in your community? Who are the top 5 people that you're talking to every day? So I want y'all to check your phone. Who are the last 5 people that you have sent text to and talked to on the phone? And I want you to ask this question: do you own? And if they don't own, then that community of us 5, let's get together and let's partner up and say within the next 2 years, we're going to own a home. And I'll tell you, those groups that work together, they can go to those classes together. They can shop for homes together. They can work on their saving and budgets together. We talk about everything else, but nobody's coming to save us. We have got to save ourselves, and we've got to do those non-traditional things, right? We've got to get out of the mindset of I need somebody to give it to me. Okay, everything we need is under the sun. Y'all, I keep going back to scripture because I'm the chaplain.
And she's reading my message.
Yes.
That means she watched the podcast. Yes. She prepared for this one, y'all. She prepared.
Yes. Okay. So, guys, I serve as the national chaplain for the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. So, if I drop one of them on you, just know it is a heart, because you need that information. You need somebody to push you to the next step. So, if connecting with those 5 people, it may be 3. So, if 2 of them have a home, let them mentor you. Okay. Because again, I want you to get with the people that you already know, because they're comfortable with them, right? So if 2 of them or 1 of them already own a home, well, who's your real estate professional, right? Okay. And if they didn't use a real estate professional, go to HBREA We have over 300 plus Black real estate professionals that's a part of our organization that will help you, that will mentor you. And if you do have a friend, family that is a real estate professional, tell them I'm ready, because a lot of times our family members be in a profession and we won't even come to them for help. We've got to stop that as a people. We got to help each other. Say help each other.
Help each other. So this young young lady has given us a wealth of information, and we will have to have her back because we want to dive into credit and the budgeting.
Oh, yeah.
And this podcast just isn't long enough for all of that information right now in this episode, but we'll bring her back and have her break things down and talk in simpler terms to us. But tell them again who you're with and how to get in touch. Let them find the information that's available to them.
Okay, great. Again, I am Felicia Guidry, President for the Houston Black Real Estate Association. You hear me say HBREA, right? So that's our local chapter. We're here, boots on the ground, to help you. We have, go to hbreahouston.org. You can find all the information about our organization. You can look at the past Sheba reports. You can see all of that information for yourself. But then go to hbreaevents.org and register for all of our information. Every month we have what's called a lunch and learn. Every third Thursday of the month, any real estate professional, industry professional, or even a consumer want to come out and meet. We provide all different types of education. We have our lender partners that are there talking about the different programs. We have our different community partners talking about, they may be talking about the land trust, the land bank. They may even be talking about the Harris County self-sufficiency program. You know, people on Section 8 can buy a home. So it's so many opportunities that we're missing. So I like that you have this podcast. One, because it provides education for our communities. Because I love to have fun, but you can have fun, enjoy what you do, and then you can help somebody. So I so appreciate you. I gotta give you some love.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by.